you knew the warm and fuzzy story of a cold and grimy college basketball season was over when Sister Jean Dolores Schmidt exited early. With 1 minute 39 seconds left in Loyola Chicago's sobering 69-57 national semifinal loss to Michigan, a security crew wheeled the 98-year-old nun away from her courtside seat and into the tunnel where her Ramblers would soon leave the court and force the men's NCAA tournament to conclude without its most unexpected and well-timed delight. The sport, full of transparent corruption currently, did not deserve to have Loyola Chicago disinfect its premier event, but it received this gift anyway. The maligned institution needed it. For the past 3 weeks, the Ramblers made it okay to be unapologetically overjoyed about a college basketball team, something the unbiased observer couldn't be sure was possible when this tournament started. It wasn't just fun. It was uplifting. It was the best of a dirty game, evidence that college basketball has a soul that can be saved. After the buzzer and the handshake line, the Loyola players walked off the floor to applause. Some players wiped away tears. Some waved to acknowledge the fans. They didn't look like a team satisfied with getting this far. They knew they belonged. They knew how close they were to playing for the title. When the so-called Cinderella bows out, there's usually a sense that the team had done all it could. It wasn't quite like that this time. There was no shame in defeat, but if the Ramblers, 32-6, could have kept Michigan off the offensive glass better or made a couple more three-pointers or turned the ball over fewer times down the stretch, they would have won. They were that good. Michigan brings down Loyola Chicago, 69-57. When they walked off that floor, the emotions when you invest in something that much, the emotions were overwhelming, some of them, and I wanted them to walk off that floor with their heads high because they have a lot to be proud of, Loyola coach Porter Moser said. And I'll tell you this, when you redone as a young player, you know it's not as much what you left behind, it's what you impacted. And these kids, these young men, they not kids, they impacted so many. The name Loyola will never be the same. Loyola Chicago, they've changed the perception, doing things the right way. They changed a community. They changed, across the country, the alumni, the pride. And that's hard to do. And to get to this stage, I am a better person and a better coach for coaching this group. For as much as Loyola proved that it was a serious basketball team in addition to a feel-good tale, it didn't have enough game to last one more round. It built a 10-point lead early in the second half and stayed ahead until 7 minutes remained, but then the dream expired. Loyola wouldn't match its national championship from 55 years ago, when it helped change the sport by embracing true integration. Still, this team will be remembered as one of only 4 number 11 seeds to advance to the national semifinal, joining LSU, 1986, George Mason, 2006, and VCU, 2011, in the updated answer to the trivia question, who are the lowest seeded teams to make the Final Four? We're still waiting for a double-digit seed to make it to the title game. LSU lost to Louisville, the eventual champion, 88-77. George Mason lost to Florida, the eventual champion, 73-58. VCU lost to Butler, 70-62. The Ramblers must settle for knowing they came closer than any of their peers to advancing. After falling behind, 12-4, in the game's first 7.5 minutes, Loyola controlled the next 25 minutes of action before succumbing to the size and skill of Michigan forward Moritz Wagner, who finished with 24 points and 15 rebounds, and suffering from a rush of 17 turnovers, including 5 in a row during a critical second-half stretch. Villanova is too much for Kansas, 95-79. We see some really good defenses in the Big Ten, really good, Michigan coach John Beilein said in praising a Loyola squad that held his team to 29% shooting in the first half. I would argue it's the best defensive league in the country. And we saw some great defense, from Loyola. They a little bit smaller at the forward positions or at some of the positions, and they can really get into you and guard. And they really gave us problems in the first half. They rotated so quickly. The Ramblers just didn't make shots like they normally do. Loyola entered the game making 7.5 three-pointers a game and shooting 40% from behind the arc, but it was 1 of 10 from that range at the Alamo Dome on Saturday night. Michigan wasn't all that efficient, either. It made just 7 of 28 three-pointers. The Wolverines' starting guards, Xavier Simpson and Muhammad Ali Abdur-Rahman, were a combined 2 of 17 from the field. Simpson was particularly awful, missing all 6 of his shots and committing 4 turnovers in a scoreless performance. The game turned into a defensive slugfest. Once again, Loyola showed its range as a team in being able to play that way, but in the end, it missed its usual shot-making. We had an emphasis to try to take care of the ball, but they sped us up, guard Markstown said.